name is Hannah Baycroft, and today I am here with Luke Brotherson, our professional ice skater, and I'm going to be asking him lots and lots of questions on the world of ice skating. So let's get started. So just tell me a little bit about what it entailed, what you got up to when you first started as a skater.
Well, it required a lot of training. So I started when I was in school. Early mornings, lots of school, and then more skating afterwards. So I'd probably start skating at about 6 a.m. in the morning and do from 6 until about 8:30. Then go to school, and then from school go back to the ice rink and then skate till about 7 p.m. And I did that every day pretty much, apart from Sundays.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So it's like Monday to Saturday?
Yeah.
Wow. Now I'm sure you're pretty tired, but then again, I guess like in the morning, if that was me, I'd have to put makeup on and stuff.
Don't need it.
Don't need it. So that was straight out of bed for you, straight to the ice rink, then to school, back to the ice rink.
That's it.
Sleep.
And then sleep, yeah.
Wow. Okay, well let's hear about your first job then. So how did you get into it? How did you get your first job? Tell us.
Well, the first ever job I did was at a theme park called Alton Towers. They had an ice show there, which used to be, it was Beatrix Potter's Peter Rabbit. They were casting auditions for the next year for a new show. It was called Webmaster: An Adventure on Ice, and it was like set in some boy's bedroom who didn't have much of an imagination, and he gets taken into the computer, into this world called Web World.
Okay.
And I was one of the cyber crew. So I auditioned. The person that held the auditions came to my local rink in Birmingham, and I did the audition there, and I got offered the job on the spot.
Wow.
Not expecting to get it, because I still technically wasn't to the standard that I should or could have been going into the professional world.
Okay. So then after that then, did that kind of, you used the footage and then applied for your next job?
Well, what I did was I was then surrounded by a lot of talented people. People that were there to give you like constructive criticism, you know, tips, how to improve your technique, things like that. So it was like a wealth of information. And I was surrounded by all these professional people.
Wow, absorbing from everyone.
Exactly, sponge, and I'm quite a sponge anyway. So then I got more confidence, and I thought, okay, so the next step is Disney on Ice.
Aha!
Yes. So I emailed, and I got an audition with them. They came, again, they were in Birmingham, so I auditioned. Quite a lot of people at the audition, and I was quite nervous because I'd not done many auditions. I auditioned. In the November it was, I remember, November 2002 it was a Friday.
Wow, you even remember the day?
Yes, it was a Friday. I auditioned. On New Year's Eve I got a letter saying that I was unsuccessful with the audition. I was kind of like, At that time I was doing a small show in Belgium. It was Romeo and Juliet in a small town in Belgium. So I was kind of like, you know, a bit of bad news, but whatever, I'm going to keep going. But then literally 6 months later, I then got an email from the casting director of Disney on Ice saying, are you available? No, I was still at the theme park at this point. So I was like, yes, I am available.
Say yes to everything.
Say yes, exactly, say yes to everything. I was like, I am. We have this new show, it's going to be Monsters Inc. from the movie. Would you be interested? It will be a 2-year contract in the US, doing the East Coast, Mexico and West Coast. And I was like, where do I sign up?
Wow.
Yeah.
So from then on, you just headed off to Disney?
Yeah. Not knowing where I wanted to go with it or anything.
Yeah.
And then that turned into 13 years of touring the world with Disney on Ice.
13 years?
Yeah.
So you were with Disney on Ice for a whole 13 years?
13 years.
Non-stop?
Non-stop.
Wow, that is incredible.
Yeah.
Now, I really want to know what the audition process was like for Disney.
Okay.
So for me as a dancer, like, you know, you turn up to the audition, you don't know the routine, you learn it there, 5, 6, 7, 8, you do it. So is this kind of similar, or?
In a sense, because I like to see how quick you can pick up choreography, but they also do a thing, because in general skating, like competition skating and things like that, there's only one of you on the ice.
Yeah.
Or if you're a pair team, there's only ever 2 of you on the ice.
Right.
There is synchronized skating as well, which is like a group of people, but predominantly you're either one person or you're a part of a pair. So they'll have you on the ice as a group, and you will all have to like follow each other in what we call guiding down the ice. So they'll do a lot of different moves, like footwork and things, to see how well you can keep in line with the person that's in front of you. and the person that's behind you, and to the person that's to the right of you, and the person that's to the left of you, to see if you can stay in this formation the whole time. So they'll make you do different exercises with that. They'll then say things like, okay, kind of like what actors do, where they're like, okay, we want you to put yourself in the mind of, say, a chimpanzee.
Right.
And act like a chimpanzee on the ice. You know, skate around, be interpretive, and act like a chimpanzee. They'll be like, okay, ladies, we want you to act like a princess. How would a princess act? Oh, emergency. How would a princess act? Same for the gents. It would be, can you act like a prince?
Yeah.
Okay, but show us emotion, different emotions. They'd be like, okay, be angry, be happy, be sad, do those kind of things. Then they would let you do like a whole freestyle thing where they'd be like, okay, just show us what you can do. Just go around and do whatever it is that you can do. They'd be like, very special tricks, because there are some things that have that are in skating but not in competition.
Yeah.
So certain things like, oh, can you do a Russian split jump? You never really saw it in competition. You do nowadays, but you didn't back when I auditioned as well. So there'll be like special tricks. Can you do backflips on ice?
Is that a thing?
That's a thing. Yeah.
That's a thing.
That's a thing.
Really?
Yeah. I can't do them. I know people that can. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of them as well, but we'll save that for another day.
We won't go into that.
Yeah. So they'll ask you if there are any extra unique things that you can do. You know, some people that have talents in other things.
Yeah.
That they can incorporate onto the ice. And that's pretty much the audition process.
So on the ice, is there like a table with? So you see on Dancing on Ice, there's like a panel. Is
Right.
that the same?
So you'll have the I know in the dance world you call them dance captains.
Yeah.
In the ice show world we call them line captains.
Line captains.
So you'd have a boys line captain, a girls line captain, and then a boys and girls TLC training line captain. So you have those 4 people, like kind of like judging what you're doing, along with the performance director. And they've got a criteria, like a list of things that they'll go through, and they'll mark you on a scale on how strong your ability is in each of those different sections, like edge work, jumps, spins, tricks.
Like a little tick box
acting.
kind of thing.
Essentially, yeah. So it'll go through that. Then they'll take all your measurements, like your height, your weight, those kind of things,
Wow.
because some roles require such specific things. Like you can't just have, for example, you couldn't have me playing Prince Charming for the look of it, essentially. Like, so they need somebody that is quite a close fit to that character. Also, if you're like a pair team and they need an Aladdin and a Jasmine, if you've got like a 5'10" girl and a 5'9" boy, it's not going to work.
No.
Visually, it's not going to work. So there are a lot of different criteria that are marked off, and they're very meticulous with the way they cast, because if they didn't, it would take away from the story that's being put out there.
Yeah.
As well.
So there's a lot to it.
There's a lot. Yeah.
Okay, so let's take it to the first day. Okay, so you remember your first
I
day.
remember my first day.
Great. So let's take it back to the first day. When I assume you just turn up to the rink with the rest of the team on tour.
Well, it involved me getting on a few planes first.
Oh, where was the first trip?
Okay, so what happened was, before that, there's like a whole visa process because they're US based. A lot of the rehearsals happen in the USA, so in order to work there you need visas and those kind of things, and the visa process, I remember, took me like 6 weeks to do, and at the time I was only 19 years old, I think. So I'd gone out to London, gone to the US Embassy, all of that jazz. Very confusing process as well. I hadn't got my passport back, but the visa had been approved, and I had an email in my inbox, and it was on a Wednesday saying that you're leaving tomorrow on a flight from Birmingham, and the flight's at 1 p.m. And I was like, well, I don't have my passport back yet, so I can't get on any kind of plane. No problem, we'll book your flight for Friday from Manchester.
Okay.
I was like, okay, so ticket was there. Got on a coach to Manchester, got on that plane via Philadelphia, first time in the US as well. Philadelphia is one of the biggest airports in the States.
Right.
Almost lost my luggage because I didn't know the whole process and things. And then arrived in Tampa, and then a shuttle was there to pick me up and take me to the hotel to a place called Lakeland in Florida, which is where there's like a big conference centre that they put an ice floor down in for the rehearsal process. I remember checking into the hotel on that evening, and then the first morning after that, which was a Saturday morning, 8 a.m. on the ice, because I'd arrived late to the rehearsal period. So everyone was already, well underway in terms of choreography and things like that. So I had a lot of catching up to do. So I'd always go in an hour and a half before everybody else to start learning the choreography and things like that.
That's amazing.
Intense, yeah.
Yeah, to kind of like give yourself a little bit of a catch up,
yeah.
chase and whatever.
Perfectionite, it's called.
Oh, right.
Perfectionite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. So what was everyone like? Were they welcoming? Was it really scary? Obviously meeting, did you know anyone?
I knew no one because I was still like new in that skating world as well. I was really nervous, but I found that it's weird because that environment, everyone is such a family. You're all there for the same reason. You know, you're all there for the same purpose. You're all there to put on this fantastic show.
Yeah.
To please millions of people, change their lives essentially. So everyone has an appreciation for everyone, whether you're the performers, whether you're the crew, whether you're the people that sell the popcorn and the programs. Without each of those things, we don't have the product essentially. Right. You know, so everyone, like I say, appreciates what everyone else does. Everyone was very welcoming. It's such an international melting pot of people. Because you've got people from all over the world. Like there was me from England. I think I was the only British person on the show.
Wow. Okay.
So there was me from Britain. There were Canadians, Russians, Japanese, people from Finland. We had somebody from Thailand. The people from all over South America.
All over the world.
You name it. You name a country in the world, and where they ice skate, and they will be on tour.
Amazing.
Yeah. So you learn a lot of languages as well. Like you learn people's cultures and traditions and things as well, and it becomes like a big family because you travel as a unit of like 150 plus people. So you become a family. Yeah. Even if you don't want to, you know.
You're stuck with them.
Yeah, exactly. It's like your family. Can't live with them, can't live without them.
Okay, so obviously you travel around a lot, travelled the world.
Every week.
What is the best place you've been to?
I've had this question asked to me before. Now, I've travelled to a lot of the world, like all different continents. And I can't pick out one place that I absolutely love best. So the way I did it was I went by continent.
Okay.
Or if I was in the US, I'd be like, okay, favourite city on the East Coast, favourite city on the West Coast. So my favourite East Coast city would be Miami. West Coast, it would be San Francisco. Absolutely love that place. Mexico is considered North America, which I know a lot of people don't know, but it's actually considered North America, even though it's south of the USA. Mexico City, one of my favourite cities in that region. Canada, I love Toronto.
All these places, you love loads of places.
I love so many places. Europe, I like the Netherlands in general. I like that area of Europe. Granted, it's not the hottest or the sunniest of places, but neither is the UK. But I like the people, I like the culture, I like the way of life there as well. If we go far east, I love Thailand.
Really?
Like all parts of Thailand I love. I also love Taiwan. I love Japan. I love them all. Like I cannot pick a place.
If you had to go to one of those places tomorrow,
okay,
only one, what would it be?
I would go back to Thailand.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because it's beautiful. It's the land of smiles.
Ah.
The culture, the people, the food, the weather, the beaches. It's got everything.
Wow. What's the best place of food then? Would you say Thailand?
Well, I'm quite a picky eater.
Oh.
Oh. Yeah, I'm quite a picky eater. Food. I tended to stick to the same things that I always ate, regardless of where I was in the world. It's quite simple. I'm not very adventurous when it comes to food.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
Well, this leads perfect on to my next question.
Okay.
What is a typical diet for a pro skater? So what would you have eaten on maybe a show day? If you've got a show and then a rest day. So let's start with a rest day. What would you have on a rest day?
Whatever I wanted.
Oh, try anything you want.
I was one of those people that could eat whatever they wanted and not put any weight on.
Yeah.
I would always, I stayed the same consistent weight for the entire 13 years that I skated. So I could eat whatever I wanted and I was fine. I'll admit I'm not the healthiest of eaters and I will eat whatever I want.
Loves a biscuit for dinner.
Love a biscuit for breakfast. Love a biscuit for lunch. Some people, you know, they do have their routines or they have their like dietary requirements and things like that. I personally just ate what I wanted,
right, okay,
wherever I was. So for me, there was no specific routine. I did eat late at night as opposed to normal hours that normal people eat at.
Okay.
And I didn't eat breakfast if I had to skate in a morning show because the moving around, the jumping around.
It's like a bit of a washing machine, really,
Yeah,
like all jumbled up inside.
So for me personally, I didn't like to eat. Also, I balanced on my hands in the show, so I spent a lot of time with my feet in the air. So obviously gravity and things like that, I didn't want to eat before I had to, that kind of stuff. So I just tended to eat after the shows.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if it was a show day,
Uh-huh.
would you like have like maybe energy drinks or anything to kind of get your, coffee? Like what do you have to keep your energy up?
I would have a can of pop
For the show.
for the sugar, just for that burst,
Mm.
and that's it.
Because the thing is, when you're having the sugar, like you're just burning it off anyway, aren't you?
Exactly, yeah.
Especially with the adrenaline.
Yeah.
What would the fizzy pop of choice be?
It would be Pepsi.
Pepsi?
Yeah.
Interesting choice.
Specifically Pepsi.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Extra sugary?
The caramelly goodness of it.
Caramel?
It's got caramel colouring in it.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Wow. You learn something new every day.
Well, you learn something new every day. So when you were growing up, I really want to know, who did you look up to? Who was your idol,
Okay.
your skating idol?
Weird, sorry. Most people that skate start at a really, really early age, like out of nappies on onto the ice. I didn't start skating until I was in senior school. So at the age of 14, 15, 16, that I took notice of it. And I remember watching something called Ice Wars, which was a US competition, obviously between US figure skaters on Eurosport. And I remember watching one person in particular, a lady called Rory Flack, who is an African-American figure skater and the first African-American figure skater to do a backflip
Wow,
on
okay.
ice. The person that's famous for it is a lady called Saria Bonnerly, who was a French figure skater, but Rory was the first African-American skater that did it. And she caught my eye and I was like, this is really cool. So I would just be obsessed with watching like figure skating and stuff.
Yeah.
Luckily my school offered as part of the curriculum, because I studied sport, to go ice skating. We didn't have a rink at my school, but twice a week we'd go to the ice rink.
That's amazing. We had like a swimming pool, like not at the school, but we'd have to
Right.
get a coach to a pool. Like that's all they offered. So you could go ice skating.
Yeah, twice a week.
Wow.
And that's how it started for me, and that was purely for my curriculum to learn. It was like the development of a sport from not doing it to being what's the word, like consistent with it, I would say.
Okay.
Because we were none of us that did it were skaters. It was like to learn the development process of what it takes to become whatever sport it is that you chose. And I picked skating because I didn't necessarily love school either, so I'm like, this gets me out of school twice a week.
Wow, okay.
So perfect. And I became hooked on it.
Really?
Yeah, I became hooked on it. So then when I left school, I then got like a part-time job at the ice rink,
Yeah.
which then meant I spent a lot more time there. So then I saw more figure skaters and I was just blown away by it. So I would then copy them. Like I would see them do a trick and I would attempt to do it. Not necessarily doing it good, but trying it.
Giving it a go.
Yeah. And then one of the coaches said, you should get a pair of figure skates. So I did. And then I got a coach, and then I learnt to skate. And then I broke my leg. And then I healed from it, and then I carried on. It didn't put me off. So.
Now, when you had like spoke about there briefly about the skates, so there's a difference between figure skates and normal skates?
Figure skates and hockey skates are the two different kinds. Well, there are actually three different kinds of skates. There are figure skates, there are hockey skates, and there are speed skates. Speed skates are the super long, what we call bread knives, that you go around in one direction in at high speed. Hockey skates, pretty much self-explanatory. They're
Right.
hockey skates.
For hockey.
These are rounded, like a curve. Then you've got figure skates, which are essentially flat, and then they've got toe picks. They've got spikes at the front of them that you use to launch yourself into the air.
So it's kind of like a bit of a break.
Yeah.
So if you were doing like a spin, then you could stop and then blame yourself?
No, the toe picks is, if you think of pole vaulting, they run and then they put the pole in the ground and it kind of shoots them into the air. I would use my leg in that same concept, but I'd need something to stop me in the ice. So those toe picks would then stop me and then it would launch me into the air, is how it would work.
Wow.
And also it's there for when you do spin, it kind of keeps you on a circle.
Okay.
Because if you didn't have them, then you would just end up travelling.
Miles.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you stop on the ice? Because I tell you what, you know when you see...
It's not easy.
It doesn't look it. When you see people going round an ice rink,
Right.
they like slide and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
spray goes everywhere.
So what they do, when you're teaching somebody to stop for the first time, you either just do something called a T-stop. So if these are your feet, you get them to put one foot behind the other one and drag it to stop them.
Oh, wow.
Or, like in skiing, they do like a snowplow, which where you skate forwards and then you turn your heels out to create like a triangle, which becomes like a plough to stop you that way. Again, it's not easy, and it's something you have to get comfortable with. I can stop on several different edges because there are two edges on blades as well.
Okay, so there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
Now the question we all want to know, Oh, well, I do, especially when you worked for Disney. Did you get discount? Any tickets? Anything like that?
So if we had rehearsals in a specific part of Florida, we got free tickets to the park, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So I got to go 3 times, and I went to both East Coast and West Coast, Disney World and Disneyland. And then we get 24 tickets a year for friends and family for them to come and watch our shows as well. And that's pretty much it. But your ID can open up a ton of opportunities for you. I was stranded in Panama. My flight was delayed in Panama, Central America. And they're like, oh, you know, why were you here? And then I explained to them why I was there. Because obviously I'm going to tell them the truth because this is immigration and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fine, you're okay, you can go here, you can do this. Because the flight was delayed 5 hours, but well, can we go back outside? Because we don't really want to be stuck in this airport. As soon as we explained why we were there, yeah, that's fine, just, you know, come back in time for your flight, like things like that. It does open up a lot of opportunities for you, which is really nice.
Free pass.
Yeah, gets you through security check-in and things like that very quick at the airport.
Oh yeah, because I imagine if you've got, if you've got somewhere to be,
yeah,
get that pass out. So, if you could go back in time to your past self, what advice would you give yourself?
I would have probably looking at where things went in terms, like I was blessed in that world. It was absolutely amazing. It would have been to start skating a lot earlier.
Really?
Yeah. Like start out of the nappies and onto the ice.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the earliest you can start?
As soon as you can stand. One of my good friends, they played Cinderella and Prince Charming on one of the shows. They're husband and wife, and they've got a little son who is now almost 3 years old, and he's on the ice already.
So early. I didn't realise you could go that early.
Yeah.
So for anyone out there watching this that is hoping to become a professional ice skater, what advice would you give them?
Okay. My number one thing would be, don't give up. Also, some people always say, oh, well, I'm too old to do that. Like, I'm 36 now, and I still have the opportunity to go back and do it if I want to. But people are always like, oh, I'm too old to do this, or I'm too old to do that. I started figure skating at the age of 16 and became a professional at the age of 18. And I didn't do that whole out of nappies onto the ice thing. Like, I missed that whole chunk of time that I could have developed a lot more experience, but I did it in a short amount of time. So there's never like a time frame or a time limit on when you can and when you can't do things. So I would just say, if there's something you want to do, if you've got a dream, then you should just do it, regardless of, if there's nothing in the way to stop you from doing it, then you should do it.
Right, well, thank you so much for that. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. And that is about Luke Brotherson, our professional pro skater. Hopefully we'll see you soon.